Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Career Soch. Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you all are doing good. No doubt that the previous year was tough, but in 2021 let us hope for the new opportunities. This video is meant for those who are expecting a job change. I'm sure this video will help you to crack your upcoming interview. If you are looking forward to change your job or trying hard to get the first job, then do watch this video till the end. Today we are going to see star model interview technique. Now let us first see what exactly is a star interview technique. Okay, so the star interview technique offers a straightforward format to answer behavioral interview questions. Now these questions ask you to provide a real life example of how you handle a certain kind of situation at work in the past or in the college. Don't worry, these questions are very easy to recognize. They often have telltale openings. Like for example, a question could start with tell me about a time when, or what do you do when, or have you ever, or give me an example of, or describe a certain situation. So you can begin by examining the question. That is the first thing that you need to do. For instance, what is the purpose of the question? What specific skills the question is trying to address? And then pick an experience that you could describe to address the question. In your mind, recollect specifics of your experience. Bear in mind that the interviewer wants to know what you personally did in the situation that you are describing and not what your team did or what you think you could have done, right? So when drawing on examples, make sure you focus on the recent past, ideally giving examples from the past up to 5 years. Of course, this is for those who are experienced. Now have a few examples ready, as this can show that you have a greater breadth of experience. However, avoid giving the same examples in addressing the other questions, as this can give the impression that you lack in the experience. Your experience is limited. Structure your answer and narrate your experience using the 4 step that I'm going to describe here under STAR technique. Now STAR, S-T-A-R, S stands for situation. Start your answer with the background to your experience. Detail the circumstances of your involvement and provide sufficient details to develop a context to the rest of the explanation. Okay, now the next is T for task. Describe the challenge, what needed to be done. Detail the outcome that was expected, constraints or conditions that needed to be satisfied. So that forms your task. Now A stands for action. Elaborate your specific action in response to the challenge. For example, you can specify action that you took and the efforts and the commitment that you demonstrated during the course of action. Okay, and the last R stands for results. That's very important. Explain the results of your efforts, what you accomplished, for instance, what you learned, how your manager and the team responded, and specify how your organization recognized you for the success. So whenever possible, quantify your achievements and improvements. For example, you can mention that you reduced customer complaints by 20% or increased profit by rupees 50,000 or 50 lakhs over the next few months. Now let me give some more tips and examples. Okay, so number 1, don't forget to brainstorm a few examples of a particular success in your previous job, or if you are a fresher, then during your college days, and think through how to discuss that success using the STAR framework. Repeat that exercise for a few type of questions. So you have to practice that before you go for the interview. Now second, lay out the situation with your anecdote selected. It's time to set the scene. It's tempting to include all sort of unnecessary details, but your goal here is to paint a clear picture of the situation you were in and emphasize its complexities. keep things very, very concise and focus on what is undeniably relevant to your story. Okay, sometimes people provide to give much of a details and their answers are too long, focused on just one or two sentences for each letter of the acronym, say STAR, one or two sentences about each thing. For example, imagine that the interviewer just said, tell me about a time when you achieved a goal that you initially thought was out of your reach. Now, how would you answer this question? So your response should be, now let us take the first acronym S, situation. Your response will be, in my previous digital marketing role, my company made the decision to focus primarily on email marketing and was looking to increase their list of email subscribers pretty aggressively. So that was the situation. And your response for the task would be, as the email marketing manager, my task was to increase our email list by at least 50% in just one quarter. So, and then you have to share how you took the action. Now that you are given the interviewer a sense of what your role was, it's time to explain what you did. That's action. What step did you take to reach that goal and solve that problem? Now here you have to remember, resist the urge to give a vague or glossed over answer like, so I worked hard on it, or I did some research and then came up with this and that. So that's kind of vague answer. So this is your chance to really showcase your contribution, and it's worthy of some specifics. Dig in deep. Make sure that you give enough information about exactly what you did. Did you work with a certain team? Use a particular piece of software? Form a detailed plan? Those are the things your interviewer wants to know. So your response for the action will be, I started by going back through our old blog post and adding in content upgrades that incentivized email subscriptions, which immediately gave our list a boost. Next, I worked with the rest of the marketing team to plan and host a webinar that required an email address to register, which funneled more interested users into our list. So you have specifically given what action that you have done. And dish out the result. Don't forget to give the result. So here it is, your time to shine and explain how you made a positive difference. The final portion of the response should share the results and the action you took. Of course, the result better be positive, otherwise obviously it isn't a story that you should be telling. Sorry. So does that mean that you can't tell stories about your problems or the challenges? No, absolutely not. But even if you're talking about a time you failed or made a mistake, make sure you end it on a high note by talking about what you learned or the steps you took to improve. Too many candidates skip over this crucial and final part of their response. They don't make it clear how their action made an impact. Make sure you emphasize on any result that you achieved and quantify them when you can. Numbers are always impactful. And finally comes the result. So when it comes to mentioning the result, you can say, as a result of those additions to our email strategy, I was able to increase our subscriber list from 25,000 to 40,000 in just 3 months, which exceeds our goal by 20%. With just a little preparation and strategy, you will soon view behavioral interview questions as less of a burden and more of an opportunity to emphasize your awesome qualifications. So I hope for your next interview, you will use this strategy and come up with flying colors. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon if you have found this video useful. All the best.